Hello and welcome back to another tutorial. This time we're going to talk about PageR and I'll guide you through the basic operations and I'll show you the pattern mode, the song mode, and we will write a simple song. So the first thing I do is go to PageM and set up my MIDI keyboard. So this is my M Audio USB key station. Go to page 2 and load some Lindrum samples from my personal library. These sounds will be used in PageR, so you can make a little sequence. And the first sample I'm going to choose is a hi-hat. So let's load this sample in voice 1. And for my second sample, we're going to choose the snare drum. So let's load it in voice 2. And for the final sound in our percussion, I'm going to choose the kick drum. And it's going to be applied to voice 3. And after this, I'm going to load some DX7 sounds. The process is the same, so I'll speed up a little bit. Now it's time to go to page 8 to choose the polyphony for certain voices. So I'm going to set 3 channels for the piano and 2 channels for the Celeste sound. So it's all done. Now let's go to PageR and I'll show you the main operations for this page. So the first thing you see is actually the pattern mode. So if you remember classic pattern drum machines like the Lindrum, this is actually like it was programmed. So we must remember that Fairlight was very limited in compared to the DAWs of today. But if you used DAWs like the FL Studio, you can see that it's basically the same idea. Patterns are created and then they are arranged in the song mode. So let's go for the top left. And I'm gonna need my calculator because I'm gonna show you how the speed and BPM is calculated. So the first thing you want to do is find what is the actual speed based on the BPM that you intend to use. So to do this, you're gonna need a formula. The first number you're gonna use is actually the clock speed, which is 314,160 divided by the BPM that you intend to use. In this case, I'm gonna choose the BPM of 116, which gives the value of 2,708. So if we now introduce this number into the speed control, you can see the BPM is automatically converted to 116. Now looking our left of the screen, you have the view mode. At the moment you are displaying 8 voices. And now for exclusive feature of QasarBeach, not present in original Fairlight, we have access to 16 voices instead of 8. And now looking at our top right, we can choose the pattern, can go for pattern 2, then to pattern 3, and back again to pattern 1. Instead of speed, you can also select the BPM. Let's insert a value of 112. Of course, you can also insert other values like I'm displaying here, and we also can use the middle mouse so you can scroll other values. Same applies to the speed control and other functions in QasarBeach. By scrolling the speed control, you also can see the BPM going up or down. Let's insert a value of 116. To the right we have our pattern time, that is 96 because we are on 4-on-4. Moving to our right, we have the designation for the number of patterns used. And patterns left is the total amount of patterns that we can use. At the moment we have 255 displayed. Down below we have our start voice, so you can select which voice you want to be displayed. We can also scroll down with our arrow keys. This is very practical when we are using more than 8 instruments, so you can be able to access them more easily. And we can also scroll with our left and right arrow keys. After this, at our bottom left, we have a box named Voices. This is where we can manually insert our notes, velocity, duration, and panning. Below we have this arrow that lets us select the next pattern. Right arrow goes to the right pattern and left goes to left patterns. Above this we have a free control that lets us select a free pattern. It's very useful because sometimes you get lost in a number of patterns. To the right we have the insert mode that lets us insert notes. Next we have delete mode for note deletion. Then we have copy for copy our notes. And of course you can paste our notes with this command. 0 will clear all notes from the current voice. Fill will automatically fill notes depending on the note duration. And move will move our notes to the start of the pattern. To our left, copy, let us copy our notes from the current pattern. Paste, let us paste our notes for any pattern you want. And clear will clear all pattern. Moving now to the right, we have our note duration and quantize settings. This is of course a feature that will be used a lot, so you have to pay special attention to see what is a note duration. If you are playing the notes live, you can also at any time alter the note duration, so it's no problem. Note duration can be also inserted at our voices mode. Below this we have the note padding. And of course you can also select the note velocity. This feature will work in conjugation with page 7, where you can set the key velocity in our volume control. Click here to select, go below to the patch selectors and choose key velocity. Let's insert our volume number back to 128. To go back to page R, you can go to the index, or you can select command and press PR to go to page R. Back at page R, let's go down below. This is our pattern mode. And going for our right, we have the song mode. This is where we can arrange our patterns to make our song. In here, you can rewind to the start of the bar. Play button plays our pattern, and stop stops it. Record is our record mode to insert notes or delete them. Next, we have our index. This mode you can manage and see all patterns that are currently used. We can see that we have a total of 255. Preview mode, let us see in real time our voices being played. So now it's finally time to get our hands dirty and start recording our drum pattern. I will be using my MIDI keyboard to insert notes. Starting at the hi-hat, we can hear me playing the MIDI notes on my MIDI keyboard, but they are not recorded because the record is not activated. Let's activate record. Now if I press my MIDI keys, the notes are being recorded. You can use the mouse or the arrow keys to select where to insert the notes. Of course you can also play these notes live, just press the record button and start inputting your MIDI notes. But if sometimes it's hard to keep in time, it's better to manually insert the points where we insert the notes. So now let's record our snare. Let's select a smaller note duration. And let's insert some notes. Okay, so let's try another thing. Let's actually record this live. So let's press our 0 button to clear all the notes. Make sure the record button is activated. Press play. If you miss, there's no problem. Just hit 0 to clear the notes and let's try again. Press stop to stop the sequence. And now it's time to record our kick drum. So let's choose a duration, quantize selection. Let's once again insert some notes. So let's press play to hear our sequence. Let's find the free pattern by hitting the free button. So as you can see, we are in pattern 2 and we want to create another drum pattern. So instead of hitting the notes one by one, let's just copy the pattern. So let's go back to pattern 1. At the bottom left, you have the possibility to copy this pattern. So go ahead and press the copy button. Let's go to pattern 2 again and press the paste button. So as you can see, this worked correctly. And now we want to make some changes to the drum pattern. Make sure you are in record mode to delete the notes. You can also delete them by pressing the delete button on your keyboard, or by selecting the delete mode, then select the note you wish to delete and press any MIDI key. Fill the snare with some notes. Let's press play to hear the pattern. At any moment you can check how many patterns you have used, so let's go to the left and hit our index button. You can visually see in this mode that we have 2 patterns. Now let's go to our preview mode, and after you press play you can visually see our voices. Our next step is going to song mode. This is where we will arrange our song. In this page you can see that we have our song and our sections. We'll be using song first. In the first step, let's insert our first pattern. So after you select our first step, you'll see that it's blinking, so it's ready to insert the pattern number. Go to right on the screen and select pattern 1. Then select the second step, go to right again and select pattern 2. To hear our song, just select the first step and hit play. We can also repeat our pattern, so let's go to the right and select the repeat of 2. Let's press play to hear our composition. Let's delete our arrangement. In the right we have 2 options. Delete will delete our step and clear will leave it empty. Next, we'll make our arrangements in the sections down below. This is very useful if you need an intro, a verse or a chorus in the context of a song arrangement. In section A, let's select our first pattern, followed by pattern number 2. Let's go back to our song section. And in here we're gonna insert section A. Let's press play to hear our song. Let's insert 2 more patterns in section A. So once again insert pattern 1 followed by pattern 2. By doing this we can hear a repeat of our patterns. To hear what just made, just press play. Our sections are not restricted only to A, we can select from A to Z. Back at our first page, I will now import an .rs file, which I previously recorded in page R. Let's go to page 2, disk control. The first file we are seeing is a .in, that is the voices file. We want the rs file for the page R. Select and hit load. Back to page R again. Let's change our BPM to 116. Let's see what patterns we have here by using the arrows. Hit free to see what pattern is available. We also can mute voices, just press the respective buttons. Hit play. Let's mute some sounds in here again. Let's make the same thing to pattern 2. And press play. Let's now unmute our voices. Let's play back once again. You can view the entire song in PageR by going to Song Mode, Play, and immediately select Pattern. Let's clear our steps. So you see, if you hit 0, it leaves a blank space. And delete completely deletes our step. Let's press play to hear our song. Let's make our arrangement in sections. So let's insert pattern 1, 2, 3, and 4. Insert section A and press play. Let's delete pattern 3 and 4, and let's place pattern 3 and 4 in section B. Let's press play. As you can see, it suddenly stops. That's because we didn't place section B in the step 2. Let's insert it now. Press play to hear the song. You can also choose between sections and patterns, so let's insert pattern 1. Back at our PageR, we want to go to our disc control, and we want to save our composition in the RS file. So here we can see we have various files displayed. Let's first record our instrument file. So it is the .in file that we are looking here. Let's press a name, and so you're gonna call it 1 minute 2. Press the return key and hit save. The instrument file was created. Now we want to save a RS file. So it's the same procedure. We already have the name, so just select the RS and hit save. You can see the file is created. We can also reset our voices, but we can bring them back by loading the instrument file again. And finally, let's just load the RS file. back at page R, you can see that everything was loaded correctly. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Hit the subscribe button, and if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, and see you next time.